The scale we want to study together is the Celsius scale. Most countries other than United States use the Celsius scale. This scale is also the one that is widely used in science. Okay, so most countries other than United States use the Celsius scale. Even our countries they use Celsius scale. The Celsius scale gives a value of 0 Celsius to the freezing point of water. We all know that water freezes at 0 Celsius, and we all know that water freezes at 100 degrees Celsius, and water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so these two temperatures you have to memorize them: freezing point, boiling point of water. Okay, in the Celsius scale. The difference between these 2 points is divided into 100 equal parts called degrees Celsius. What does it mean? Here in this thermometer, we said 0 Celsius is freezing point, 100 Celsius is boiling point. The difference between these two temperatures is what? 100 Celsius degrees. 100 Celsius degrees, okay? So, each degree and 100 parts, 100 digits, 100 equal parts divided into 100 equal parts. Each line here we call it what? Degrees Celsius. Each line we call it degrees Celsius. 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay? The second scale is the Fahrenheit scale. The units on the Fahrenheit scale are called degrees Fahrenheit. Now here I forgot to tell you girls, in the Celsius scale, degrees Celsius, this is the degree. This, you have to write it always when you write any temperature in Celsius. Degrees Celsius. Also Fahrenheit has degrees, but this time degrees Fahrenheit. Don't forget this important note. Degrees Fahrenheit. On the Fahrenheit scale, water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit and boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, these two temperatures, you have to memorize them. That water freezes, if I have a thermometer, has a Fahrenheit scale and I put it in freezing water, you will see that water freezes at 32 Fahrenheit. If it is a Celsius thermometer, you will see that it is 0 Celsius, degrees Celsius, okay? And boils at 212 in the degrees Fahrenheit and 100 degrees Celsius in the Celsius scale. Okay, here is the Fahrenheit thermometer. Water freezes at 32 Fahrenheit. Water boils at 212 Fahrenheit. The difference between them, if you subtract 212 minus 180, minus 32, the answer is 180 degrees Fahrenheit. There, in Celsius scale, we said that the difference here is what? 100 degrees Celsius between freezing and boiling. In Fahrenheit, it is what? 180. The difference between, I have 180 digits here, or 180 lines between these two. Okay? The third scale is the Kelvin scale. Now, girls, remember that temperature is a measure of the average kinetic energy of particles in an object. We said that. Even for a far below 0 Celsius, degrees Celsius, these particles are still moving. So they have some kinetic energy. But how low can temperature fall? What does it mean? Now we said that at any temperature or all the time, the particles for any object, they are moving and vibrating in any temperature. 0, 10, 15, 100 Celsius, degrees Celsius, the particles are moving and they have kinetic energy. Even under 0 degrees Celsius, minus 15 degrees Celsius, minus 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the question is, how low can the temperature fall? The lowest temperature is negative 273.15 degrees Celsius. This is the lowest temperature. We call it absolute zero. What do we call it? Absolute zero. Why do we call it absolute zero? Because at this temperature, the kinetic energy of the particles, what? Zero. So the particles, they stop moving at this temperature, negative 273.15 degrees Celsius, the absolute zero. Okay? We say, what do we call it? Absolute zero? Because the kinetic energy of object or particles would become zero. Some recent experiments have reached temperatures that are very close to absolute zero. Absolute zero can never be reached because particles never completely stop moving. What does it mean? And you can't go to a place, you say, oh, the temperature of this place is negative 273.15 degrees Celsius. We don't have this temperature in real life, okay? They just did some experiments to reach this or a temperature that is close to the absolute zero because it's not easy at all that particles they stop moving without any motion, okay? So absolute zero can never be reached because particles never completely stop moving. I hope that it's clear, girls. Try to focus and understand what I'm talking about. On the Kelvin scale, 0 Kelvin is the absolute zero. هلا in the degrees Celsius we said it is what? Negative 273.15 degrees Celsius. Okay? In the Kelvin scale, it is zero. Okay? So in the Kelvin scale, we don't have a 0K, 0 Kelvin. Why? Because it is the absolute zero. And we said we can't reach, this temperature cannot be reached because the particles, they can't stop moving. Okay? So there are no negative temperature values on the Kelvin scale. For sure, this is the lowest temperature. We don't have less than 0 Kelvin. So in the Fahrenheit, in the degrees Celsius here, we have negative 273. But in the Kelvin, we don't have negative. The Kelvin scale is used in many fields of science, especially those involving low temperatures. Okay? Let's look at these three thermometers at the end. Fahrenheit thermometer, Celsius thermometer, and Kelvin thermometer. Okay? Here, as we said, all of them, they measure temperature. At the end, the temperature is the same in all of them. So they all measure the same temperature, but the difference is the scale. Here, for example, if I put this thermometer, the Fahrenheit thermometer, and the Celsius thermometer and Kelvin thermometer inside a boiling water, all of them, they will give me the temperature of boiling water, but the difference is where? With the reading. Here, the Fahrenheit scale, we said what is it for boiling water? 212 degrees Fahrenheit. For Celsius scale, we said it is what? 100 degrees Celsius. And in Kelvin, 370 degrees, 370 Kelvin. We don't have degrees for Kelvin, okay? Don't forget. For Fahrenheit and Celsius, we have degrees Celsius, degrees Fahrenheit. In Kelvin, just we write Kelvin without a degree, okay?